We are more invested in looking after the ocean than anyone else because it is our livelihood.
I think it's really important in most industries, like every fisherman wants to see and wants to know that they're going to have stock a decade in the future, 2 decades in the future. They want it to be able to pass down to their kids or the next generation.
We've always had a relationship with our environment within the oyster industry. We've had to because the health of the estuary dictates our commercial viability.
Aquaculture has a natural advantage in that we are working in more controlled environments, but with that comes a responsibility to ensure that we are farming for future generations.
For a long time there was this misconception of fishermen pillaging the oceans and not caring for it. That I can say definitely has changed. Diana is a demersal auto longliner, so it's all hook caught fish, very low impact, very species select, target select fishing, and a very well and heavily managed fishery.
Sustainably managing fisheries is very important, making sure that we're correctly following quota, following the rules of commercial fishing. I think that's really important.
I do honestly believe that the team that work with us in aquaculture, particularly at Yamba, it's part of what draws them into the industry. Recognising that you are working with nature, you're out on land or sea, and there is an affinity and a responsibility that goes with that, and generally a passion that draws people into it.
Another thing that fascinates me into the science perspective is the wetland system that the Humpty Doo Barra has. So we do not put any polluted water out or anything. It's very sustainable. It all gets circulated in the entire farm itself, and then it gets purified and then we use it back again. There was one time when they had to get the test done for the waters in the Adelaide River, which is right next to us and our farm. They came up with the conclusion that our farm water is much cleaner.
The consumer definitely does care now about where their food comes from and how it's produced. As we go forward, there's going to be less available land, less available water, and it has to be used in a sustainable way. We've been able to tap into an underground aquifer that gives us water at 29 degrees Celsius all year round. It allows us to run a tropical system in a suburb of Melbourne. You use very little water, and then everything that comes out can be effectively treated and remediated before it goes back out to the environment.
We are a farm that actually is a sustainable ecological system. So that brings in crocodiles, buffaloes, feral animals, birds, etc. And that then brings its own challenges as well. So obviously keeping our fish, alive and healthy and safe, but obviously being aware of what's happening around us in the environment too, and keeping people safe. Pigs are the big one at the moment, so they're the challenges at the moment. But yeah, it is. And look, we're very much about the animals on the farm, so everything is treated with care and consideration and kindness. So it's sometimes you've got to drive around them or move around them, or hopefully they shoo off the road. But yeah, it creates challenges.
The oyster sector is organic by nature. There's no feed, no fertiliser. Oysters are wonderful for the environment. They filter the waterways, they sequester carbon into their shells. There's so much that they do that by their very nature are fantastic. It's just about what we can do to minimise our impact when we're farming. I love being involved in what we're doing, whether it's decommissioning historical tar pits from some of our older farms, introducing bulk bins across our seafood processing and our marine operations. It eliminates single-use plastic bags, and oysters are a low carbon footprint. As a marketer, that's a fantastic story to tell.
The oysters just naturally filter the water. In fact, there's been a lot of studies on repopulating native oyster reefs and what they can have for local estuaries where you might have terrestrial runoff that's causing issues.
They're cleaning the Pearl River Delta in China with billions of oysters. We're seeing the Billion Oyster Program in New York cleaning the Hudson River.
People are actually looking to oysters and other shellfish to do restorative work. So I think in terms of looking after the ocean, we've got that one pretty covered.
Technological advancements are definitely coming through in the industry all the time. The technology we have now that helps us find the fish and helps us fish efficiently, it just makes it that much easier to catch a fish, which is a good thing. The less effort you have to catch a fish means you're having less environmental impact.
We as a company understand biological interactions in fisheries. I think that's really important. It's not just about money and financing, and that's very important, but understanding science is integral to understanding how everything else works.
The other big one, which sort of steps onto that quota, is technological advancements in fisheries management. So whether it be how they gather data on the fish, how they process that data to get a better idea of what fish stocks are, and how we can help improve fish stocks and improve the fishery. That's a massive one from the fishery side of things.
What we knew anecdotally 30 years ago, we now know through testing our water quality, having in situ sensors within our estuaries. We're making much more informed decisions now around our environment.
Sustainability for us is central to every decision we make, and it has become increasingly important as we go forward.
We look at everything through sustainable lenses. It's a core of what we do as an industry, and that lends itself to even further career progressions and degrees or TAFE courses in environmental credentials and that kind of thing feed into the industry as well.
Out of processing here, we try to do good recovery on fish, full utilisation of fish. Any bit of protein you're pulling from the ocean, you should try and get as much value out of. Wastage is bad business idea, but also bad for the environment as well. Our key out here is recovery, so whether there be a salmon slicer machine which reduces your wastage, offal management. As much as you try to use as much of the fish as possible, you always end up with some offal waste, be it heads, frames, bones, scraps, and being able to use that in another way, be it fertiliser, and then all the way through to the restaurants again, all about that utilisation of fish, and even things like we're trying to eliminate plastics from the restaurants, so only using glass, which is a lot more easily recycled for drinks and stuff like that. We're trying to always have the environment in our mind.